Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Chase Jarvis. Welcome to another episode of the Chase Jarvis Live Show here on Creative Live. This is where I, yours truly, sits down with the world's top creatives, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and I do my very best to unpack some actionable, valuable, hopefully meaningful lessons with the aim of you living your dreams in career, in hobby, and in life. And my guest today is Amanda Crew. What's up?
What up? You have the squeakiest chair ever.
I do. I know. This is professional sound quality.
But I was very impressed with that intro.
Thank you.
I would never be able to do that.
Well, did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that.
Folks at home, it's not me. It's not a bubbly stomach. That's my chair. We're going to celebrate it. Actually, speaking of chair, we are in an amazing location I want to give a shout out to. Los Angeles, not really Los Angeles. This particular room is Howard Hughes' office.
Which I still don't believe.
You don't believe it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have someone validate it
before
we leave here. No, shout out to my friends at 72 and Sunny who are giving us this amazing room. And here to celebrate you, new season of Silicon Valley coming out. That show totally fucking rocked my world when it came out. I'm in the middle of that. I'm like, I've got a startup with Creative Live. You probably know about that. And living that Silicon Valley thing from, as an outsider, born and raised in Seattle, I've come down here and it's a thing. It's like you guys freaking nailed it.
Yeah, well, I spend a lot of time writing it, so
Yes.
I'm really, I appreciate that you appreciate my research.
Thank you. You guys have done a great job. But I do want to give you a shout out. I love the show, and there's a specific reason that I've gravitated towards you and your comedy and you as a personality in that show for a number of reasons. One of which is you are, until last season, you were the lone female.
The lone soldieress.
But it's incredible. And I know Silicon Valley has that backstory behind it, and probably there's some reasoning in there. But you rock. I'm always looking for strong female ass kickers, and you were leading the pack. So
Well, I appreciate that. It's been a weird ride being the lone female. I mean, now I have Suzanne Cryer playing my boss, and so she's another woman up there with me. But
she's funny as shit.
She's
too.
so fucking
She's good.
funny.
She's good.
So good, and she's just such an amazing human being. But yeah, it's been a really weird. Like when the show first came out, obviously it was getting a lot of flack for like not having any women, and Mike Judge and Alec Berg, who created the show and run it, we're talking about how, it's a satire and we're like making fun of Silicon Valley and there are no women in tech. And that's why that was like a choice. But it was this weird thing where I was just getting so much attention for being the face of women in tech, which was like a really uncomfortable.
You're like, I'm Canadian. We just got like phones.
Yeah, we live in igloos. What's tech? So yeah, it's kind of an interesting ride. It made me uncomfortable at first, to be honest, of being kind of like all of that attention of like suddenly I'm the spokesperson for.
How did you deflect that? Did you just like? Or not deflect it? How did you respond and own it?
Yeah, it's kind of been an evolution, and I'm still kind of growing with it. At first, it made me feel really small, to be honest, because a lot of the interviews, it just was. I felt like I was just reduced to my gender.
Yeah.
It was just like, what's it like being the only girl with a bunch of guys? And I'm like, so that's all you see me as is just the girl.
The token.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I chose to kind of educate myself more on that world. And it's been fun because now I've started investing in some companies myself.
Nice.
And so that's been like a great way to kind of empower myself. But yeah, it's been an interesting journey.
I can bet. So by my asking you that question, am I then
No,
pandering?
no, not at all. No, because you didn't phrase it in a way. It's mainly.
Am I in your shot?
There's no woman here. No, it's mainly. It would actually be like a lot of the times on the carpet for the show, like for each season. Every single person that interviewed me, even the women, it was just always the first question of, what's it like being like on a show with a bunch of guys? And it's just like, is that really your fucking question for me? That's all you can think of? And the thing that would get me so frustrated was that everyone was just focusing on that, and no one would talk about the fact that Mike and Alec had created a female character who wasn't the love interest, who wasn't the sex symbol. She was smart, intelligent, confident, successful, and no one would focus on that. And to this day, Monica has never been the love interest, and that's rare for a TV show for a woman not to be the love interest.
So legitimately, that's what you just characterized. I'm going to let myself off the hook here. That's to me why the character is interesting,
Right?
and strong and smart, and I think it does it's an interesting balance that you guys have struck on the show. First of all, the show's fucking unbelievably funny, but there's some real chords that get hit. The undercurrent, having building a company in Silicon Valley, having investors, all that vernacular. My wife Kate can't watch the show because she's
we get that a lot.
She's horrified because she's lived all of those nightmares.
Like it's way too uncomfortable to watch because you're hitting way too close to home.
Yeah, it's so accurate. But I just the way you play Monica, I think, is spectacular.
I wish I could be half the woman that Monica is. She's just so fucking together. It's been the one job where I actually go through hair and makeup and get into my wardrobe where it feels like a swan effect, where I'm like, oh, I am now a woman. Because I'm such a tomboy and like such a mess in life. Not a mess, but I don't put that much effort into those things. And then it's the hair, the makeup, the business skirt, and then she's just like so well spoken.
She snaps right to it.
Exactly.
I think you do a remarkable job playing her.
Thank you.
It's really, really fun. But this is not your first rodeo.
No.
Let's go
this
back.
Canadian's been around for a while.
That's right. I love Canadians. That's a funny thing to say. Not so funny. But I have born and raised in Seattle.
Right.
I've been going up to BC for basically my entire life. I identify deeply with the balance. And you guys got Trudeau, for God's sakes.
For God's sakes, the most sexiest man alive,
Like-
and just like a gentle spirit.
Yeah, and so smart and talented, and boy, do we miss that. And
Boy, do we miss
yes,
that.
But talk to me about we're in LA, sunny LA. It's about 250 degrees in this room that we're in right now.
We are sweating
We are
profusely.
sweating. But journey from Canada, from you called yourself Not Put Together.
Yeah.
Not Put Together Canada, to starring on an HBO series that's just in its 4th season.
Yeah, we just finished our 4th season, yeah. So I grew up in Vancouver, not far from Seattle, but a small town in Vancouver, Langley. I got in trouble when the first time I was on a nighttime show, I was on Jimmy Kimmel, and I said that I was from Langley, where the slogan was, I'm from Langley, wanna bang me? That
didn't go over well on
didn't
Jimmy.
go over too well with Langley.
Got it.
But that's where sense of humor. It was in one of the textbooks in like the 8th grade. I opened it and someone had written that, and I thought it was the funniest thing ever.
Taking it forward from
Yeah.
8th grade. Or in Canada, don't you say grade 8?
We do say grade 8.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
and we don't have senior, junior, sophomore, all that bullshit.
Yeah, it's
all
like
that fucking bullshit.
Is it like at that point? Is it year 10 or 11 or 12? Is it
grade 10?
grade 10? Got
Grade
it.
10, yeah. Grade 12. 12th grade, as you guys say, senior year.
Yeah. Thank you for Americanizing your schooling.
But yeah, I started acting. I mean, I'd always been interested in acting and performing. I danced when I was like a kid. And
Well, wait a minute. All kids dance. So what do you mean you danced when you were a kid?
I tap danced.
Oh,
The real
you,
shit.
you still got it?
I do actually.
Uh-huh.
You don't lose that shit.
Okay,
It's like
good.
riding a bike.
Great. Got it. Might have to break it out and get a nice. Actually, I just tried to move this table and I just about broke legs off, so that's not a good place to
pretty
dance.
heavy-
But at some
pretty
point.
heavy table.
Okay.
I'll tap
So
dance
you-
on that table
You
later.
started dancing.
Yeah, and just my mom saw that I really enjoyed performing, but she never wanted me to get an agent until I was a little older, and she knew for sure that that's what I wanted to do. So, but she always kind of found recreational classes for me to take, just like weird theater classes, and to see if I really loved it. And I was lucky that the high school I went to had a film program.
Oh, cool.
Which was rare. That was like in 2002 when I took that program, which I thought was so cool. And my teacher there, she saw that I was really into it, and so she recommended this class downtown Vancouver, which was in the city.
In the city, the big city.
A little suburb girl to the city. And so I took the class, and the last class was like a performance for your parents, but then also there was casting directors and agents, and that's how I got my manager, who I'm still with today. So that was
Wow.
when I was 15, was when I got a manager, or agent in Canada as it is. And that's when I started. And for the first year, I booked nothing. Literally nothing. Like, could not even book
Hey.
a commercial.
But you start slow.
Oh
right?
yeah,
A lot of practice.
no, you got to start real slow. I really
So
started
slow that it's nothing, actually.
Nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how I started, and then after the first year, then things started to kind of pick up.
Okay, so you are familiar with the show, so I think you know enough that the people that we want to, or the people that do listen to this, are people who are either self-identified as creativity, entrepreneurship. They're trying to make a go of this, and they've already identified and they want to get better. Or there's another pile of people that are like, I kind of want to do this, but I'm scared. And when you at 15, like identifying, did you just know? I mean, or was there outside pressure to do this? Because I had outside pressure to not do this whatever this is. By the way. This is like what we're
Whatever
doing, what
this
we're
all
doing here.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was really lucky that my parents were supportive of me pursuing it, but definitely were not pushing me into it. Like, my mom's not a stage mom who wanted me to be a star. I think she probably would have preferred that I didn't get into this after seeing what I have to go through. But she was really, again, she saw that I had interest in it, and what I love about what my mom did was she sought out kind of opportunities for me through classes. And so I took so many classes when I was in high school for acting, and I really did love it. And I remember when I graduated from high school, I'd done some work in the industry in film and TV, but it was that thing of like, what do I do? You're supposed to go to, as we don't have, you guys, do you do college, university? You have a different word for it or something.
College,
But you don't do university?
university, and college are interchangeable.
Yeah, okay, so I'm dumb.
No, you guys call it high school, right?
High school, yeah.
Okay.
But we don't have like junior high.
Fair.
Anyways, you just assume that you're supposed to go to university after, and it was that kind of the crossroads of, do I do that? And so I kind of like half stepped into, I went to like community college for one semester, and I didn't even finish that one because I ended up booking a movie, and then I was like, okay, fuck this, like I'm gonna go full force for
But did you
this.
feel pressure to do that? To go to school and not pursue your thing?
I felt that, not pressure from anyone, but more of a societal, is that the word?
Yeah, societal.
As you could tell, I did not go to school. But I felt it wasn't from my parents. It was just this idea of that's what you're supposed to do. Because
Yeah.
I did well in school. And so I thought that that's what I was supposed to do. And so I kind of, I took general studies for one semester and just thought that that's what I was supposed to do. But then as I started booking jobs and making money acting, and I was like, okay, let's
Do that.
do this.
Well, there's a handful of really prudent themes to this show, and one of them is that it's a very hard thing to, often for people, it's a hard thing to break into because there's a lot of cultural bias against it, and yet it's sort of the first time in the history of our culture that it might actually be riskier to do the safe thing, like to think that you're gonna, go to school, go to college, graduate with whatever $100,000 in debt, and you're going to get a good job, and then you're going to be set because there's no gold watch, there's no 40 years employment at one particular thing. Does that, now that you're established, probably there's no fear there, but did you have any fear of that when you're like, what am I doing? And then you moved to Los Angeles, and then you started like doing this more, and
Yeah, I think every actor in the back of their mind has this fear of, when will they catch on to the fact that like I'm fooling everyone, and when will this dry up? I was lucky in that the first year after I graduated high school, I was working quite a bit, but I definitely have had periods since then where, when the recession hit, it was also the writers union had a strike, and so there was like nothing going on, and there was like a year and a half where I didn't work on anything. And I had been like working, and then all of a sudden the bank account's going low and like there's no auditions, and it was a really interesting time because it did make me kind of everything, not that everything had been easy up to that point, but everything had been just on this
Felt natural.
yeah, and it was just like it was just moving forward and up, and then all of a sudden everything took a stop, and then everything went down for me, and I had to kind of almost start back up again. Like I had, before the recession hit, I had just finished a big studio movie as one of the leads, which it was like a huge get, and the movie flopped. And it was supposed to be this thing where it was supposed to be huge, and then I would just keep going up, and it didn't
recession,
do that.
movie, flop, and
The writers' strike,
Oh my
and it's just, for 2 years basically didn't work. And because of how our industry works, then it was basically like I had to start all over again. And suddenly it was really humbling because I had to then go back to like auditioning literally for like guest stars on TV shows no one was watching. And even those I couldn't book, which it was just, I had been going out for the leads of studio movies, and then I'm now auditioning for a guest star on some shitty sitcom. But I'm really grateful for that experience because it did kind of humble me, and then also kind of, it shows you that, I don't know, because I've been building back up to that. It's like, okay, I didn't fake everyone. Like I can do this, and I can lose it all again.
And you can do it twice.
Exactly. Yeah.
Once you might be lucky, you got to do it twice to be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, A, I love the humility with which you approached. B, that weird pillow that's sitting next to you.
You like that?
There was this pillow that Amanda was leaning against, and it was like, it was for in case she didn't like fill out the couch enough, and she filled it out, but now it's just sitting there.
You just have an
I'm
extra
sorry.
cushion.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I love that you got so distracted.
I mean, just like the cushion, it's bugging me. I'm sorry.
That's
Can you
something
take
I would do.
Can you take the cushion away, Matt? Thank
Take
you.
out that cushion.
Take out the cushion. For the folks at home that are listening to this instead of watching it, I'm sorry. You didn't see the cushion. It was just bugging me. The part that I loved about your humility is we just went there. It wasn't like there was a big build up about, oh, what's it like to, because I have never known you to stumble, just what I know about your career. But how much of success is humility? How much of your career has been benefited from work ethic, from not expecting to, some sort of trajectory of like you get a hit and then you're off to the races?
Yeah, I think, again, like other than the first year when I first started auditioning and didn't book anything, but after that, like I said, like things just kind of naturally fell into place. Yes, I still got rejected for stuff and had to fight my way up, but I kind of got really lucky when I first started and started just booking American projects, even though I was in Canada. But then when all of that like fell down, I lost my thought.
Did it hurt? Was it hard? Do you attribute success now to that period of having to go through that? Because I think the reason I'm asking is there's so many people who are listening right now who are like, everything just, for the people who've, quote, made it, everything just sort of happens. And it's who you know, and it's and I'm trying to remind people that it's not the case. And I've never sat with someone like yourself for whom it just went like that naturally.
Yeah, no,
it's always just like
absolutely not.
kicking, biting, scratching, the swan, everything looks calm on top, but you're kicking like hell under the water.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a good visual.
But I mean, is that accurate, or am I putting words in your mouth?
No, it's absolutely accurate. And I'm still, that was kind of, I have friends who are in this industry who are much higher than I am, and seeing, the battle that they're up against, you realize it never ends. And I remember thinking that, like, oh, once I book this kind of a role, it's over. I'm like coasting.
Yeah.
And that's what I was gonna say was that was also part of what happened with this at the time of the recession. Was I had just finished I booked this huge job. Like it was that one that I thought in my
Yep.
mind, like,
Done.
we're done. We're done.
We made it.
And
High five, self.
yeah, exactly. And I then, two things happened. Was I had it in an idea in my head that I would now then, like, people should just be like offering me shit. Like, hi, I just booked this huge movie. I'm in this huge movie. People should be knocking at my door. And so then when I would get auditions, in my mind, I was too good to be auditioning for this part. Like, they should just be offering it to me. And so I turned down a lot of auditions. And then I also turned down auditions out of fear, because I also had it in my mind that people would be expecting a certain quality of work from me in the room. And if I couldn't deliver that, if I looked at the audition scenes and I was like, oh, this looks hard, then I didn't want to fail in the room, which was new for me, because before it was just like, I'll fucking do anything. I will like show up, and like if I fail, I fail, but I'm like gonna try. And all of a sudden I was paralyzed with fear. And that's also what happened in that time of like the recession, is that I freaked out and I like stepped back, and then I had that kind of sobering moment when I woke up one day and realized, like, you are not where you used to be, and like you can't expect for
You can't
these.
pretend. You can't pretend your way out of this one.
Yeah, and you can't, like, no one, like, all of the kind of buzz that was around you is completely gone now. Like you freaked out, you checked out. And it was a really sobering moment. And I remember calling my agent being like, we have to like start all over again, and I'm ready, but like I've checked out. And it was that first year after that moment was like a really hard year, because again, I was having to audition for things that I hadn't had to audition for in like years.
Yeah.
And it really fucked with my confidence for a while there. But having gone through it, then you gain this like whole new confidence, because you went back down to like the bottom and like fought your way up. Also as an older person, because when I first started, I was like 16, and I think there's just kind of a wide-eyed, bushy-tail sort of thing going on there. And going through that a second time, I really kind of gained a whole new confidence and appreciation for like what I do and what I have to offer.
Yeah. So what's interesting to you now?
What's interesting to me?
Yeah, like the show. Clearly, you guys are on to the 4th season, which is not out yet, but we'll drop this probably the week before that drops, which is April 25, 3, 5, something like that.
Some Sunday.
Yeah, some Sunday in April. But you're wrapped, of course, because they're in post right now. So what is occupying Amanda's time right now? Are you on to the next project? Are you filming? Are you in production? What's happening?
I just wrapped on the show a week ago, and now it's back in that audition game, and it's been very busy and exciting, but so exhausting. But I have this new fire under my ass, kind of trying to find that next thing for myself that challenges me in a new way and features me, because the reality is there's not a lot of great roles out there for women.
Yeah.
And so it's like finding those projects that actually feature the woman and not just kind of have them on the sideline. And that's like what I really have my eye on. And so that means turning down things that could potentially be like cool to be a part of, but if
you keep doing the things that you'd be nice to be a part of, you might.
Exactly. I did that for a while because I needed that. That was like what I needed in my career to like move up. But like now it's like I need to push myself to the next thing. There's always the next
of course.
thing. But it's a hustle.
Yeah.
And it does a number on the old self-confidence in the brain.
Yep.
But I think it's kind of a drug too. You get really addicted to it.
The pursuit.
Yeah.
I think I'm just going to reflect on what you've said already, which is it's fantastic for the folks at home to hear the challenges, B, how hard folks work. I think, again, I'm trying to dispel this myth that shit just happens, because I don't know a single human for whom that has been the way it's gone down. It's always 2 steps forward, 1 step back, a lot of heartbreak and hustle. And did you always know that this was going to be a thing? Is that I'm trying to get at now? What allows you to do that work? Because it's not hard, or sorry, because it's not easy. Because it's hard.
Yeah, no, I think about that.
You love the craft. Like, you love being fancy.
That's like when you finally get to be on set and you get to act. Like that's fun, but it takes so much work to get to that, And I obviously when I first started acting, I had no idea what I was.
You never do.
Up. No,
right?
it's
all just made up until you're there.
I know, and it's interesting because I was there's this program, this after-school program that I'm involved with that helps girls find their confidence and self-empowerment, and eventually helps them figure out what they want to do with their lives post high school. And so I was mentoring this girl who is interested in either pursuing acting or directing. I was just like pushing her to directing. I was just like, go do that. I was like, you have your phone, you can make movies on your phone. But it was hard because I was trying to, be positive, yet also knowing like it's really fucking hard. I think it's the same in kind of like in the world of blogging and Instagram influencers and all that. Like the younger generation, they see these girls with like 10 million followers, and like they just post like beautiful photos of themselves and like go to these things and take videos, and they're like, oh my God, that looks like so much fun. They get all this free clothes. Yeah, I want to do that. And they don't like that world, like those
are some of the smartest, hardest working people I know.
Hardest working. Like I actually look at what they do and I'm like, that's harder than what I do. And I just, it's that is such a hustle, but people just see the online side of it. They don't see like all the work that they have to do behind it. And I think that's with acting too, is people just see you on TV or in a movie and they're like, wow. And then they see your Instagram and like, obviously it's just the highlights of your life, but no one sees you driving from Santa Monica in the morning to do an audition for 14 pages and then drive to West Hollywood to do another audition with like 10 pages in one day. And then you have to drive home and like read a full script because then you have an audition the next day. It's, it's a fucking grind. And then to like put your heart out in both of those auditions and not hear anything back.
Yeah,
not even like, no, because of this, just nothing. So you have no idea why they didn't respond to you. You don't know if it's because of your hair color, which is literally a thing, or if you did a shitty read, or if you actually did a really good read, but they're just offering it to a big name and you had no chance in hell.
Right.
So you really have to keep the confidence
You're the
up.
triple bid, yeah. So, all right, let's shift gears. Let's go personal life. So you film a season. Mm-hmm. There's the junket of promoting that, which we're going to be the first show that, because we're ahead of the curve here.
Way ahead.
Way ahead. It's coming out in April. But after that, are you still buzzing because the show is on and people are like knocking at your door because every Sunday for X number of Sundays, your speeds and feeds blow up and you're excited and invigorated? Or is it lonely and you're still grinding and that's a thing that already happened for you 6 to 12 months ago, and so you're on to the next thing? Like, what's the psychology of next for you? I
think for me, it's the latter of what you said. Like, while I'm working on the show, that's what I'm focused on. And of course, promoting the show. And I mean, I'm a fan of the show myself. I love watching it.
It's so fun.
It's so fun. And like, I love those boys. They're so fucking funny. And everyone's so talented on the show. And so when it's on, I'm watching it too and enjoying it, but I am focused on what's next, and whether that is that I'm filming on something else or I'm just grinding at, the audition game trying to get that next thing. But I'm never kind of just sitting back. I did that before. Just sat back waiting for it to all just like come to me, and I'm like, oh, that's not how it happens. So it's as soon as I'm wrapped, I'm calling my agents being like, what the fuck are we doing next? And like, just send me out. Because I don't do well with just kind of sitting and trying to stay comfortable. That's like never been kind of my speed.
Well, let's go there. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's get uncomfortable.
Well, if if being comfortable is not your gig, what is your gig? Is it putting yourself out there on stage, in front of the cameras, or is it personal development, professional development? What part of you is the part that you like to be uncomfortable?
Well, I don't like to sit still, and a big kind of challenge with acting is that, I mean, you're lucky if you're working 60 days out of a year. I mean, that's like a successful actor, you know?
Yeah.
It's like you don't get to work that much. That's when it's easy, is when you're on set. And so the hard part is that there are times of the year where it's just not as busy and you're not auditioning at all. You go from like 3 auditions a day to not having an audition in a whole month. And I really, when I was younger, I mean, I really struggled with kind of that kind of like 100 to 0. And a lot of actors, I think, write for that reason, because that's a creative outlet that they can kind of have control over. And I always envied that about a lot of my friends who are actors who wrote, but I had never had any drive to do that. But I recognized that I needed something, a creative outlet on the side that I had control of, that I could pick up when I wasn't working. And that's when I fell in love with photography, because I'd always loved photography but had never really pursued it. And it was about when I was like 24 when I realized I need something on the side. And so I started like teaching myself how to use a camera, and that has become such an amazing creative outlet for me. And through that, I've done, at one point me and my best friend had like a blog that we were doing with that. And then I got a lot of respect for bloggers, because I was like, this is a lot of fucking work and I'm not doing this anymore. But I've also, like, I have this like on totally hobbies, super small on the side, but I do this like interview series called Frank, where it's, I interview someone and do photos, and like there's kind of like a questionnaire that they fill out by hand, and I scan and like gather pieces of their things, and I scan it's this whole like big piece on a person. And that has been so fulfilling for me, just as this creative outlet that I have control of, that there's no kind of, the outcome is just, it's just for me. I don't care.
There's no intermediary or end benefit.
Exactly. I'm not doing it to get to a higher place. It's just for me. And it's been one of the most fulfilling things that I've done outside of acting, has been that. And it's kept me sane. And it's been interesting, because once I started diving more into the photography, I was able to kind of, when I'd audition, there's like a little bit less pressure that I'd be putting on myself, because it used to be like acting, ride or die, like everything takes a back seat. This is the only thing in my life. And you learn that you need to have like a balance with like all of that. And I was able to then take some of the pressure off of myself with my auditions, because I had these other things going on that were also rewarding and fulfilling for me. So it wasn't this thing of, I need to like book this, because like if I don't work soon, I'm gonna go fucking crazy. It's like I have this other shit going on.
Yeah.
And that's also been like the world of like investing too, has been a whole, like this is very recent for me in the past couple of months where that's started to happen. And like I'm a strategic investor, and I'm like part of like phone calls and stuff, and I fucking love it.
Yeah.
And then my lawyer that I hired to do my contracts, we're like potentially creating a product. I don't. So it's very early stages, but
Okay.
it's like very exciting to me. This whole new world has opened up that now as I'm doing it, it makes complete sense to me, because I've always been interested in business. But had you told me that like 2 years ago, I'd be like, there's no fucking way. But like it really is. It's so interesting how life can take you down different roads if you're open to it.
Yeah.
I went on a tangent there.
No, but it's a good tangent. I feel like natural tangent, but I deeply identify with that. I've spent my whole life trying to carve out who I was, an identity, a belief, a life, a living around just being an artist. And to have to start to pay attention to business because of some things that happened in my life. Like, you want to be an artist, like not a starving artist. And in the early days, you're looking around, you're like, all right, who's on my team? You're like, team of one.
Yeah.
And you have to advocate for yourself. That changes over time. But I became intoxicated is the right word, but business is probably not the wrong word, in sort of doing things that would facilitate a broader spectrum of things for myself. And I also am an angel investor and you know about Creative Live. Those things have largely shaped a new part of me. And I've not walked away from photography or filmmaking or any of that stuff, but I love the fact that we can all be hyphens now, that you're not just an actress. When I found that out about you, your passion for photography, I was like, of course, we're all a bunch of hyphens. And here is another one of Amanda's things.
Yeah, and that was kind of, I used to have this belief when I was younger that to be an actor, you could only just be an actor. And I think that's why I kind of always shied away from the photography, was just like, oh, well, that would mean that I'm not fully an actor because I'm not giving 100% to acting if I'm also doing this stuff on the side. And now I can't imagine my life without having stuff going on. And it just, once you take away that label from yourself of just like, I'm just an actor, I mean, a whole new world has opened up for me that is so much more rewarding and fulfilling than if I had just labeled myself actor. That's it. I'm not allowed to do anything else.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, because you've made like huge like pivots in your career, and and it's opened up. I mean, the impact that you're able to have now on people as a result of that. Whereas if you just been, I'm just a photographer. I mean, your world is so crazy to me now. Like, you just do so much. And that story you were talking about, sorry to like bring it in, but like of why you weren't on Instagram for so long. And when I read that, I was like, wow. And the fact that you really could have just stayed in that dark hole and like just been like, okay, fuck it, I'm never like venturing into this ever again. And I really admired, like reading that, I was like, wow, I really admire that. Like you continue, you're like, you pivoted in that world.
That was when I was casually referring to it earlier. Like and I went through some things. That business thing was.
That business.
Yeah, that business thing is like I overtly, through in part paralysis and in part, and if you guys know what I'm talking about, I created an app in 2009 called Best Camera, which was the first iPhone
Which
app.
I had, by the way.
Yes, which is the first iPhone app that shared photos to social networks. It was, a year and a half or so. I had Instagram. It was it's not like I created an idea and, but it's like I created cable television and I created up here. No, I created a physical thing, and it was very successful. 1 million downloads, app of the year for Apple, global speaking tour about the future of photography, all that stuff. And when it came time to potentially transact and have never work again money, like private plane money, I couldn't pull the trigger, specifically because I had spent so much of my time as creating and fulfilling what I thought an identity of a creative was, and that was different from an entrepreneur, and that was influenced by culture, not what I was feeling in here. And there's all kinds of things that are wrong with that. And what Amanda's referencing is a blog post that I wrote, sort of confessing all that 5 years later, which was
For legal reasons.
Yeah, for sure.
I just spat on myself too.
Yeah. I spat on myself a lot. Anytime I say legal reasons, it's a mouthful. Well, thank you for thanking me. Wait, is that right? Yeah, thank you for thanking me. But
You just got shy.
I did. I'm so shy. Ask these guys, they know. But let's shift gears for a little bit. So thank you for having my app too, by the way. But when I saw you in the hallway, I literally felt like I'd known you for 10 years. And I don't know why that is.
I know. It was a weird feeling for me too, because I said that was the first thing I said to you. I feel like I know you, but I don't know you, and I want to give you a hug. So we did.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
What is that about this day and age that we live in?
Yeah, probably the fucking internet.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
which
darn
I
thing.
love and I hate.
Yeah.
I have such a love-hate relationship with social media and the internet. I think it's such a powerful tool that has like connected us and has opened my world up to different point of views, different, artists, different products, different everything. But then I also feel like it's just there's so many voices now, and it's like the way I look at selfies, where I'm just like, I have a love-hate relationship with selfies, because part of me, when I see like a selfie of my friend, is like, I cringe, but I'm also like, good for them. They're feeling good. They're feeling themselves.
Yeah,
it's a little self-indulgent, but they're feeling themselves.
Which is good to feel good.
Yeah,
so nice
exactly.
job.
It's like the gym selfie. You're like, they're feeling good. They're exercising and they're feeling confident. They're like, but are they just looking for compliments from everyone because they're actually insecure?
Yeah. No, it's good. I think it's a really interesting concept.
Yeah. No, it's such a, yeah. I struggle with it myself. I'm surprisingly a very private person, and I also love sharing things about myself, but then sometimes I just get really shy about it. Like, it took me forever to post a photo of myself on Instagram. I remember the first time I posted a photo of myself, it was from a red carpet event, and I felt so gross posting this photo. But I wanted to post it because I wanted to give credit to the whole team that like puts, I mean, there's fucking 10 people that put together your whole look.
Yep.
And I wanted to give them credit, but I also didn't want people to think that I was like, oh my God, like how beautiful I am, and tell me I'm amazing and beautiful and gorgeous and that you want to be like me.
Yeah.
Like, because that's the feeling that I get sometimes when I see those photos. But I do realize that there's positivity behind that too. And it's just about, if
it's complex. I think that's what we have to acknowledge. And there's, we've talked about this a little bit on the show, probably not enough, because it's something that I think about a lot, and the people whom are in your shoes, even my shoes, or folks who are very, very out there. Out there, not in like a, but in like a.
But also a little.
Yeah, it requires that. But it's an actual thing. There's a psychology around it. There's, and I know a lot of people, we talk about it in private, how it's weird. And even the Instagram thing you just mentioned, like telling people all that, like what is the purpose of telling people that if it's not to point back at you? And in my world, I had to wait long enough to make it about a learning lesson for others, and that was part of the reason I justified just continuing to put this off. Because it wasn't like when it resolved itself, I just went out the very next day. There was still months post that where I was like, is this the right thing? Is this the wrong thing? And I have become less and less self-censory because I don't know, I need to keep moving. That's my nature. But how is it for you? Because you're clearly processing this stuff. You're red carpet. You're in a super successful show, and it's expected that you will promote yourself and your career. And if you don't beat your own chest, then who's going to like celebrate you for you?
Yeah.
So how do you deal with it?
I mean, I think about it a lot, and I put a lot of thought into it. I think my biggest thing is just making sure that anytime I'm putting stuff out there, it's never in a way. The last thing I would ever want to make anyone feel is that they're less than.
Yeah.
And that's like always been a big thing with me, is that I've never wanted to make anyone, my friends or fans, feel like they're less than me and that I'm up here. And so that's always been kind of my natural intention anytime I put stuff out there. But also recognizing that, especially with fans, that they do look up to you and they are inspired by you, and that you can have positive impact. I mean, I've been working with this trainer.
Nice. Me too.
But I've always been really into fitness, but I just started training with this trainer in the summer, and he had said to me, he's like, you need to be posting about this. I'm like, that's gross. I don't want to like post about my fucking workouts.
Yeah.
Like what? And he's like, you have a platform and you can spread a positive message.
Yeah.
Because I'm now become very passionate about like women should be like lifting weights or resistance training, and like we shouldn't be cardio rats. And he's like, you can help spread that message. And as someone who suffered from like terrible self-esteem in high school and everything, it's like you can have impact by sharing that. And so I realized that part of me was being selfish by not sharing that kind of stuff.
That's exactly this weird psychology that's like, as soon as you can justify not posting X photos of yourself, for why reasons, then the other side of the same coin is like, and you're missing an opportunity to help other people pursue their dreams, to,
Yeah, and that's the other side of the coin of, me never wanting people to feel less than. I also recognized that I was starting to kind of make myself small to make people feel comfortable. And that was also my friend pointed it out to me. I remember one time, and she was just like, it's a disservice to other people. She's like, by you being yourself, because I'm such a weird nutball. And she's like, by you not being fully yourself, then you're not giving, when you do that, you give people permission to be themselves. And by you not doing that, then you're not giving people permission. And so it's just this interesting, like on one side it's this healthy thing of like not wanting to make people feel less than, but then by stunting myself, I'm not, giving people permission. It's this really fucked up like double-sided coin, and it's a very fine balance, but that was a very eye-opening experience for me of realizing that I had been doing a disservice to other people by trying to service them.
I think that the folks who are listening to this or watching this, I think everyone can identify this. We're talking about you and your career in Hollywood, et cetera, but I believe that exists for every person. Mm-hmm. Like, how much of in this world am I sharing? What's too much? What's not enough? And that's one of the reasons I've been sort of trying to foster this conversations, because it doesn't happen enough. Mm-hmm. I want people out there to know that something I also occasionally get to do crazy things that I have no business doing. People who are like, I'm way blown away by, and getting to learn from them, and I don't post those pictures, and I'm like, I'm kind of bummed that sometimes I don't have that memory or the X or Y or Z to put that out there with confidence, because I'm worried about it being misunderstood or whatever.
Totally.
And I'm hearing that from you. So,
yeah.
A, you're not alone. We're all in this together. But I think you have done just a masterful job of that. I don't know if your feeds are super funny. They are. They're just, that's what, in part, when we saw each other in the hallway, that helped me feel like I understood,
right.
knew you.
Well, that makes me feel good. So thank you.
Yes, you're doing a good job. The Mutual Admiration Society can now adjourn. Back to the hard fucking questions.
We love each other.
Yes, back to the hard questions.
You're amazing.
I keep saying back to the hard questions, and then you keep talking. Okay, all right. So, hard question number, how many hard questions have I asked? Not very many, right? What's next?
That's a great question, and there's no answer to that right now. Like I said, I am back to auditioning. Yep. The terrifying world of auditioning, and so I hope maybe by the time this airs, I'll have booked that really big fucking job.
That big thing.
But yeah, like I said, like right now I'm just super focused on that. I have a couple projects coming out this year, yep. But again,
those are things.
They're just I'm kind of this way. So I really have been focused on kind of finding that thing that is challenges me and showcases me in a way that I haven't been showcased and challenged before.
Cool.
Well,
I would like to adjourn from that point for a second, because you are about to enter the promotional aspect of your
all
show.
Those questions about being the only girl.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not the only girl anymore, but
That's
they
right.
still say I'm the only girl.
There's 2 of 10, right?
Yes.
2 of 10 females. I will share a story with you at this point. Prepare for a story, people. I went to the world premiere of the first, second, and third seasons of your show.
Really?
First one was in Palo Alto.
I was there.
Yes. And there was maybe 150 or 200 people in attendance. It was chairs, like, brought out onto a floor screen about as big as that TV. We're in a room with the TV right there. And I remember Mike Judge, the creator of the show, getting up and saying, so it's kind of weird because there's a lot of people in this room. It was super small. I mean, it was like super VIP. This is another one of those things. Like, I don't think I posted a picture from that because I'm uncomfortable, because I'm sitting between these fancy people.
Yeah.
And I remember Mike saying something like, it's kind of weird because you guys, I guess you'll just have to tell us what you think, because you're all in the thing. And
you're basically in the show.
Yeah, in the show. And what I watched happen that night was, you guys, I think at that point, now you played 2 episodes, but at that point I think you might have played 3, because they're 22 minutes or something like that. and is that how long they are? 22, 23,
They're
26?
30 because HBO has
that's
no
right,
commercials.
that's right. See, she's already in promo mode. And I remember afterwards, watched a couple shows, and then the people in the audience were sort of miffed because Silicon Valley, I don't know what it is, Silicon Valley loves Silicon Valley. I should just tell you that. Not the show, but Silicon Valley loves itself.
Yeah.
And someone was creating a satire about this world that they had created was very hard for the people, and especially the super famous people. And I remember there was a red carpet, which is super weird in Palo Alto. Red carpet with a step and repeat, and I'm watching these watch it, they don't actually know what to do here. The San Franciscans are like awkwardly in front of the step and repeat. But I watched this sort of slow motion train wreck of Silicon Valley not capable of handling a satire about itself. Do you have that recollection at all, or was that just as an outsider because you were
you would have more of an insider scoop on that because you know some of these people, and so we felt like the guests at that.
They loved it, but there was definitely an easy.
Well, and I remember Elon Musk was at that, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And
it's specifically Elon and Peter Thiel who commented about it. That I'm referring. I was not going to use names, but.
Not fans.
Yeah, they were not psyched because I remember one quote, I think in the paper, or maybe I heard it in person, was something like, "You guys made fun of us for trying to save the world, but we really are trying to save the world."
Well, because that was like the theme of the first episode. That was the big joke of we're just trying to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
And I get that because most of Silicon Valley is genuinely that's what they're doing, but it's just funny to make fun of.
Yeah, it is. But it's also what Silicon Valley doesn't understand is okay, if LA or if pop culture is making fun of you, it means you've made it. So relax.
Yeah, you guys are
Everything's
doing
cool.
a great job.
Yeah, if you're worthy of that sort of attention, then gosh, nice job. You've made it happen. You're worthy of us actually putting a lens on you because there's so many other things that we don't put a lens on.
Totally.
It was different, sorry. So the second year was in San Francisco, and it was, by my recall, it was total adoration. Everybody had sort of got over those things. And again, I feel like I have one toe, a little pinky toe in your world, but also in the tech world now. And just total adoration. And I think all of y'all were lined up. And I just remember it being very funny. The cast was insanely funny.
Yeah.
I got to meet a handful of you, but I didn't meet you.
I would have remembered.
Yeah, I know. I would have remembered because the hallway. I was like,
Yeah.
ah. So, was it different? What's the difference between year one and year two to maybe now?
Yeah, I think the first year. I remember watching the first episode, and because when you're filming it, especially the first season, you don't get to see the final product, and like there's so much that's done in the edit too. And I remember watching the first episode, being like, oh, that's what we're doing. Okay, cool.
Good, I can do this more.
Yeah, it's because you have no idea really this world that they were creating. And the original pilot that I had auditioned for, if you had read that script versus what actually was the end product, completely different show.
Wow.
It changed so much from when we shot the pilot to when it actually got picked up, and then we went back and actually reshot some scenes, and then they changed some characters and like storylines. A lot of my friends that auditioned for the show originally thought it was a drama. That's how different it was.
Wow.
Yeah, which is insane to me now because the show is obviously so fucking hilarious.
It's
hilarious. But that original pilot, I remember reading it, and it was not funny. But I knew Mike Judge and I knew his work and I knew HBO, and I was like, oh, I guess I should audition for this. Yeah. But even my character, Monica, she originally was this like sexy seductress. You didn't know if she was like good or bad. What were her intentions? And they obviously completely changed that. But I'm still surprised I booked it because I've not really. I actually, when I auditioned for it, I was wearing like the high heels and the skirt and the shirt and everything. And I walked into the audition and within 2 steps had tripped over a cable like on my heels, and I was like, well, I'm not booking this, like, because I'm just so not that woman. But they quickly changed her to the Monica that is now.
Maybe in part because of you.
Maybe they just love my heart.
I'm a big fan of Mike Judges.
Yeah.
Good guy to work with.
He's amazing. If you didn't know like what he looked like, if you didn't know his work, if you just met him on the street, you would have no idea he's had the success that he's had. He does not carry himself at all in that way. In fact, I remember one year, I think it was the second season, and he got nominated for directing for an Emmy. And so I emailed him that morning being like, pretty soon after he had been announced, and I was like, oh my God, congratulations, like, nominated for an Emmy for directing. And he emailed me back and he was like, oh really? Like he had no, like most people, like they, on the day of announcing, they're on their computers
scouring
just,
the media,
waiting
right.
for it. He had, like, it wasn't even on his radar. And that is just so indicative of the kind of person he is. He's so down to earth, and then just really fucking smart, obviously.
Yeah. So
and
good
really
at his job.
funny.
So good at his job.
Yeah.
What's set look like? You guys, is it as funny as I would guess it would be?
It's insanity. I mean, when you get all of those, a lot of my scenes are either with Suzanne or with Thomas, who plays Richard, and that's a bit more of a tame set. But when we have the scenes with like all the boys and me in like the hacker house,
those are hilarious.
Oh my God, it's just fucking chaos in the best way. I mean, and we have such a good dynamic, all the guys and me, of I'm one of the, hello. Oh, bye.
Hot set.
Don't they know this is Howard Hughes' office?
True.
Excuse me. But yeah, we have such dirty sense of humor. So a lot of what the videos we text each other and stuff from like it's so inappropriate. Like if people just saw the terrible videos we were sending each other. It's a ridiculously hilarious group. I'm constantly pinching myself that I get that's my job, is showing up to that set, because they're just so fucking funny.
It's a beautiful show. Speed round.
Speed round. Oh God, I'm terrible at these.
Okay, should I go slow? Should I talk slow?
Like-
What's gonna help you?
I just have to pace myself.
Okay, well, speed round.
I may take a beat before I answer.
Okay, take a beat. Something that would surprise people, something that people don't know about you but would be surprised if they did.
Okay. Excuse me. I have a tattoo on my wrist of a freckle. That is, in fact, a tattoo. That little brown dot.
Yep, it's a big one.
Badass, okay? My friend.
Who inked that for you? Is that
a
some
professional.
Famous,
I paid $150 for that. Because they have to use like a new needle. But my friend, I was getting my ear pierced right there, and I came back out of the piercing room, and my friend was getting this feather tattooed on her arm. She's like, you have to get one. And, she didn't research the tattoo artist. She just did it. And long story short, there was no detail, and it looked like she had a dick on her arm. Like, complete with like fucking shaded and
no.
Like, I was just like, well, that doesn't look like a feather. She's like, you have to get a tattoo.
Matt's embarrassed. Look at Matt's turning red. Our camera guy.
Yeah, so she had a dick on her arm, and she was like, you have to get a tattoo. And I was just like, I'm not fucking getting any tattoo by this girl. So I got a freckle tattoo. So that's an interesting fact about me that most people don't know.
Yeah, it's subtle.
And badass. Like, when you see that,
it
you're
does
like,
look,
whew,
tough.
that girl
Do
is... Yeah, and sometimes, like for work, they have to cover it up because it's
lot
distracting.
of makeup.
Yeah, like Monica obviously wouldn't have a tattoo, so that's covered up.
Got it.
Yeah.
By a professional esthetician.
Yeah,
I get it.
yeah.
Got it. Okay, so is that enough time in between them for you to get recharged now?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You like how I did that? Okay, good. Thing two, something that if you weren't right here, and you could be teleported anywhere, where would you want to go?
Oh my God. I've recently become obsessed with Iceland. Are we talking about place or time?
Either, whatever.
Yeah, no,
Just go
Iceland.
there.
I want to go there.
It's pretty.
Real bad. You've been? Obviously you've
yeah.
been. You've been everywhere.
Yeah, it's a pretty. It's
Mr.
so.
Jet Setter.
It's so photo. Look at you. You're just working me.
He's always late for his flights, but
yeah.
thank God he has that fast pass.
Hey, how about the flight to get down here?
We all know.
I
We
not
saw
the-
the Instagram story.
Was I not the last person on the airplane?
Your flight was leaving in 17 minutes, and you were still in your car.
How about-
And then the next story, you're like, I made it, and I was like, how the fuck?
That's actually these times are true. It was 4 minutes. Check this out. This
Oh
is
my
true. 4
God.
minutes from curb, NASA dropped me off, to gate.
Shut up.
Yes. There was not a single human in line. I sprinted, and I have clear, so it's like 2 fingers
So he's
on
clear.
the deal. Yep. And they said, okay, you're clear. And then there was not a person in line. I set my backpack on the deal, and then I was at the farthest gate away that you can possibly be in Seattle, A14, not the one we have to ride a trolley, fortunately. I sprinted the whole way. Halfway there, I was like, this is really useless. What am I doing?
Yeah.
And I made it.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
But that's also, I think men can get away with just a carry on.
Yeah.
I'm allergic to everything that touches me, and so I literally have to bring a towel to dry my face with because I will have an allergic reaction
To
to
the
the
soap.
hotel.
Oh my
No, it's
gosh,
the
yeah.
bleach. I
Oh, the
learned I'm
bleach.
allergic to bleach. It's a thing. But I have to bring my own shampoo.
Your shirt is very white, though. It's
Well, I washed it,
Got it,
with
okay.
Honest Company. Just plug them
plug
in.
that, plug it,
They're-
making hundreds.
I'm not allergic to Honest Company. It's one of the only detergents. So
Making
there.
hundreds.
Is
Product
there a single
endorsements.
camera pointed at me right now?
3.
I'm like looking into the lens. I'm like, they're all pointed at you.
All right. So, Iceland.
Yeah.
I can tell you that it's amazing.
Yeah.
But I want to know why. Why Iceland?
It
Just
looks-
because it's beautiful.
Oh my God, it just looks like a fucking fairy tale. It looks like no other place on earth. And it just looks like you're just surrounded by fucking nature, and it's
Waterfalls
gorgeous.
and, yeah.
And the people seem really cool. And it just seems, yeah, like a fairy tale.
Can I give you a tip?
Yeah.
Go.
Thanks.
Tip number 2: don't eat the shark.
face, I'm like, oh, shark?
You
ate shark?
The national dish is a what is it called when it's not pickled? Is it pickled? What's it called?
My face.
Pickled?
Just-
Yeah, it's gnarly. I think it's a pickled shark. Is it fermented? Yes, thank you. Fermented. Pickling is fermenting.
Yeah.
So there you go. I was most of the way there. And but every local will say, not every local, but some of the ones, our producer in this case is like, oh, you have to have this fermented shark. Totally not worth it.
It sounds disgusting.
And you think I like to be open. I eat everything.
Right.
I've eaten pig's anus in Hong Kong. Don't recommend that either. Chewy.
That's fucking disgusting.
Chewy.
Chewy.
I
have a
some,
visual.
I put some hot sauce on it.
Oh my God.
It was on a show actually too. I'll save you that one. Don't look that up because it's.
I'm
not-
actually
it's-
picturing like
Yeah,
an
don't.
O.
Come on. It is. It was a O. It's like.
It's like actually
it's
the
like-
shape of the anus. Like they didn't
it's-
even like
it's
chop it
literal-
up.
It's like squid. It's like a calamari, except it wasn't deep fried. For those of you who are listening to this on the audio version, you should see Amanda's face. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's
But this is
disgusting.
not meant to be the topic of this discussion. It's don't eat the shark.
Yeah, I will
When
not eat
when
the
they
shark.
Suggest, and I like to be open. It's just not worth it. It doesn't taste good, and the people actually laugh when they're done feeding it to you. So what you realize it's actually them just like feeding you the grossest thing in their country, so that you can say you did it, and everybody falls for it. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fall for that.
But enjoy the waterfalls and the icebergs and the beautiful straight roads and the mountains, and take a ferry too if you can. Actually, there's some cool ferries.
Noted.
Check.
No shark and the ferry.
No shark, take the ferry. Okay, that was question number 2. This is not rapid fire at all, right?
You like how I'm like
Yeah. Wait, I asked you a question and then I talked for 10 minutes because you put it back on me. You're very tricky.
sneaky.
Sneaky. The thing that you love to eat that nobody knows.
Ooh.
Like, you're like, I'm at a grocery store I'm gonna go home, watch some shows, or hang out with my dog. You have a dog?
Oh my God, I'm such a boring eater.
Yeah, so because are you allergic to a lot of stuff?
I'm not actually allergic to a lot of foods, but I really, I'm such a classic actress in the sense that
Gum for breakfast?
yeah, gum and cigarettes. No, I really do love eating clean. Like I actually
It feels good, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get at. Is there anything that's not a thing like that?
I know, and I'm trying to think what is my big like cheat meal, and it's just like, oh, I'll have like half my boyfriend's fries. Scandalous. But there isn't
But there's something good about eating clean, right? It feels good.
It honestly, I know it's so cliche, but I do feel so much better when I'm eating clean. And like I said, I'm really into like fitness, and you just feel so much better when you're eating clean.
Taking care of yourself. Everybody likes
And
that.
and because I've been doing it for so long, it's a habit, and it doesn't feel like I'm depriving myself, or that like there's foods like, oh man, because I also like will allow myself to eat like.
Sure, it's birthday cake. Here, have a slice of
Yeah,
birthday
exactly.
cake,
Like there's that balance, but I do prefer eating clean, and I can't think of something.
That's
fucking,
good.
Like,
But see,
awesome.
what that allowed me to get to was habits, which now. So, what are some other habits that people have? Sort of, maybe what's a weird habit? What's a couple normal habits? Talk to me about your morning.
I love morning routines. There's that website, mymorningroutine.com, and
Amazing.
I love reading people's morning routines. I can't stand people who like you can read some of them though, and you're like, you're fucking lying. Like you don't do like all of this stuff every single morning.
That's 12 hours worth
Yeah,
of stuff.
I know. Like they're like, and then it's 6 a.m. and I've done like 20 fucking things. I'm like, bullshit. But I do love reading about people's morning routines. I have recently gotten into is it called?
You seem
The
really
5-minute day or 5-minute journal with the the three
Gratitude
things
journal,
you're
yeah.
grateful for that day, and like your affirmation for the day, and then at the end of the night that has been like, I just started that January 1st, and that I've seen you can actually feel the difference.
profound, isn't it?
Yeah, just reflecting on the day and putting intention into the day, and it makes me, we all have our things that we need to work on, but you can so quickly just kind of push them to the side, and just putting focus on them, I've noticed such a difference. I'm also big into like morning pages. I journal like most mornings, just stream of conscious.
If you don't know what that is, look up morning pages. I think it's from
Julia
the
Cameron for
Artist
Artist Way, yeah, which I got to week 10, I didn't finish it. I should probably like do that one again.
Go back.
Yeah.
But so equally profound.
Yeah. It helps me. I'm very much in my head, and so it kind of helps me get out of my head. And I'm a very kind of sometimes emotionally reactive person. An actor? What? And so it helps me. Some mornings I'll wake up already in a mood, and it helps me kind of figure out where's that mood coming from, and like what's actually, because sometimes it's just the stupidest shit. Like you're just carrying the weight of like a movie you watched last night that like fucked with your head, and then you wake up in a bad mood, and you're like, why am I in a bad mood? And you have this cloud, and then you write it out, and you realize like, oh, it was just that, and then forget about it. But those are like the two things that I do like almost every morning, and I work out in the morning. I have to like work out within like the first, like, I'll have breakfast, but straight to the gym.
Otherwise.
I can't work out at night.
Me too.
I probably worked out like 5 times at night in my entire life. And it feels so weird. It's like writing with your left hand. You're like, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I here?
But you don't want to. You said you made fun of, or not made fun of. You highlighted cardio as something that you're sort of moving away from.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I still do it because I think there's still benefits, but I really have fallen in love with like strength training and weight training. And I did a movie, God, it's almost been 2 years, I guess a year and a half ago, where I was playing a female wrestler. And so for that, yeah.
Amazing. As in like big time wrestler, or like try and kick someone's ass wrestle?
No, she
like Ronda Rousey sort of.
Yeah, like she was
MMA kind of shit.
I did my own stunts.
Wow.
But so preparing for that, I had to do a lot of weight training, and that's when I really fell in love with it and saw the benefits, and I felt so much better because I had crazy back problems, and once I started strengthening my core and doing the weight training, all of that went away. Because I think I didn't have the support to like hold my long, lanky body up. But I think, obviously so many women, I was one of them, thought, I don't want to lift weights because then I'll get big and bulky. And I learned after doing I did insane weight training trying to put on this muscle mass. And yes, you can put on muscles, but it's fucking hard. So for women who are terrified that by lifting weights, they're going to get big and bulky, it's you'll know if you're pushing yourself to that place because you you can't lift the weights.
Yeah.
You have to be working with a trainer to be doing that much. And it's I don't know, my whole body shape has changed since I've started doing that in a positive way.
Good.
But I think I'm just always telling women, I'm like, pick up weights.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to let you off the hook there. There's a couple, but this is just a way for me to get into a couple of things that are specifically about you. But we've tapped into this 3 or 4 times, and it's been women. You are clearly a massive advocate.
I'm a woman.
Yeah, but I'm so inspired by the rise of the feminine. It's been a male, masculine culture for far too long, and I'm seeking to learn as much as I can about it through conversations with you and others. Do you have a point of view on that? I mean, I know it's very vague, but you're working with women, young girls after school, trying to teach them about self-confidence. Maybe you can reflect a little bit on that or some other women's issues, feminism that you're leaning into.
I think it's such an exciting time for women. We have so much work still left to do, but I think
As a culture.
Yeah.
Not just women, yeah.
Absolutely. And, but I do think because of the internet, this is being one of the positives, that there's so many more ways to spread that message, to talk about it. And it was something growing up I was completely unaware of. I did not realize that, there was this inequality, and that even as I started working in the industry, I didn't realize that I was getting paid less. And then I started dating an actor and saw how much he was making, and I was like, fuck
Wait a
you.
minute, what's
We're
wrong?
at the exact same level, and why the fuck are you getting paid that much? But I also, when I was in high school, the role models that were out there, I was a fan of Britney, but I didn't identify with her, the whole sexy thing. And that was what society told me, that's how I should value myself, is based off of my sexual power and everything. And I remember when Avril Lavigne came out on the scene, and I was like, what?
Whoa, yeah.
I could wear dicky pants and a tie and wear a lot of black makeup. And I remember that having such huge impact on me. And because I did feel so uncomfortable in my own skin in high school, because I felt like I needed to act a certain way, but it wasn't what was natural to me. And so that's why I feel so passionate about working with girls in high school, is to kind of show them that there isn't just one way to be, even though society is telling you that you have to fit in this mold. Fuck that, you can be whatever mold you want to be, and kind of giving girls the confidence to explore that for themselves and figure out for themselves who they want to be. It's something that I definitely am become very passionate about over the years.
I love it. There's a fire in there for sure.
Yeah.
You mentioned Avril. Other people that you think are crushing it, that you like or that are inspirational to you?
I'm anyone who's just kind of doing it themselves their own way. And I think there's so many women who are doing that now, which is awesome. There isn't just, because I feel like when I was a kid, for me, it was just Avril. Yeah. But now, with the Lena Dunhams and even the Jennifer Lawrences and the Sophia Amoruso,
Yep.
there's just these so many, And that's what I love about the internet. Like, you go on Instagram now and I'm like, man, I would have been such a cooler kid, like, had this been around, like, knowing that I could have, like, skipped all of that. Like, I felt like a sheep in high school. I was just trying to follow the herd and fit in.
Yep.
And kind of, you know, quiet my, like, awkwardness. And now I just let my freak flag fly. Say that fast.
No.
It's a hard one.
I'm not gonna,
Freak,
because I
frag,
just yeah, I identify with that in high school. I actually was wildly creative in my head, and as a human, I felt it in my body. And yet, being creative was very weird. I was from like
Did you
suburbs.
struggle with, because you're an attractive human being.
Thank you.
And I assume you were attractive in high school. Did you struggle with kind of how people saw you on the outside versus how you felt on the inside?
It was less about my physical appearance because I wasn't cognizant of that. I think
Maybe it's a woman thing.
Yeah, I think it's a women thing. I think I also had friends that were much handsomer, so that the spotlight would always be on them or that. The way that I processed it was more about the culture, like what fits in, because that's the thing that I need to do.
Right.
And being an artist or creative was not, I went to...
Well, and that for a male.
Yeah, for a male. It's like literally what's the thing that is... And being the captain of the football team and dating the cheerleader. Like that was the thing that was expected. And so like, great, I'm going to do that. And fortunately, I was a good athlete, so I just picked that up.
Right.
And it was painful to have said, I was really good with that for a long time. And then as a young adult, specifically when I was sort of helping myself understand who I was, and as we, loss of innocence and all that stuff, it's just like, wow, I was really pretending. And it's fine. I recovered, but that's the thing. I was definitely pretending. I was pretending, and it feels weird to pretend. But that you're hitting it now. That's one of the reasons that you're going back to that age for women to help them? Is that?
Yeah, because what I struggled with was I was getting so much male attention because of my outsides and just like attention that I wasn't comfortable with, and that I didn't feel like matched how I felt on the inside, because people saw, one thing on the outside, but on the inside I felt weird and awkward and had a weird sense of humor, but like that's not what goes with like that on the outside. So like I always felt like I wanted to like do this, but I had to do this. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's great.
For those people listening to the audio, they have no idea what I said.
Yeah, this and this. We're totally disrespecting you. It was like have a dance party instead of just sit with your hands quietly folded.
Yeah, exactly. But even when I moved to LA, I remember trying to fit into this idea of what an actress was. I was like obsessed with the tabloids, and like that was when like Lauren Conrad had her reality TV show, and so that was my introduction to Hollywood. It was like, okay, so big sunglasses, venti Starbucks cups, oversized purses, and I totally fell into that trap of playing
How painful and hard was that to look back on that and just say how
it's actually like when I look back at photos of myself then, I've almost blacked a lot of that out because it was such a weird time. Even the friends that I chose and the lifestyle, like that's when I saying I used to smoke, that's when I smoked. Like I was a vegan who smoked. Just like, but they were American spirits, so they were like natural. But like such a fucking hypocrite. And so I just remember, waking up one day being just like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, that's so not me. Like I was such a, I was a goody two shoes as like a kid. Like the fact that I was like smoking and like just getting fucking wasted and just and that's part of growing up and like learning those things.
Yeah.
But I look back at that time and just, the way I dressed and everything.
But that's one of the reasons that I'm talking about this, because there's no long form like programming there where you can talk about stuff like this.
No, I've never spoken about this in like an interview.
I deeply appreciate you going there, and I think that's at the other end of this conversation is the reality that I'm trying to connect with the folks who are listening and watching, because we've all been there. We're all awkward. We're all trying to just figure it out and get to the next thing and survive. At first it's survive before you can even think of thriving. It's surviving. How do you get through these ages? And it's just a myth that you don't have it, that that someone else doesn't have these same problems. And so what can we do to talk about it? So that's
we're all fucked
do
up.
good. We are. We are. Except for you.
Yes, I am not fucked up.
You're not.
I'm so perfect.
You have Trudeau going for you. you got Canada if it all goes south. What have I not asked you that I should ask you?
Oh God.
It's a loaded question, but
yeah, that's like a huge question. I don't know. You ask great questions. I feel like I said, I've talked about things I've never talked about in interviews before, which is so refreshing.
I saw you on Conan, and you compared the whiteness of your stomach to the whiteness of Conan O'Brien's stomach.
I'm a pale motherfucker.
But I think he won the paleness contest.
He did, but like if you look at the side by side, it's frighteningly that's like super close, and he's a redhead.
Yeah, he's got something on you. Yeah.
Yeah. So
he said they have to put makeup on me so they can see me.
So funny.
He's so funny. He is so funny. All right, so what else? What can I ask you?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't.
sure.
That's like such a daunting question. There's
got to be something, because basically this is on the backside of you saying like I've never said those things, and so you're open. You're saying it like it is.
Yeah, I mean, I try to be an open book.
You are.
Brene Brown.
Okay, let's talk about it.
That's one who, when I saw her TED Talk, the whole idea of vulnerability, that one hit me hard, and that was like that's something that I like now strive for, but I really identified with everything she was talking about, and her books
the new feminine energy, that vulnerability as power, like that. She, I consider her a friend. She's been on the show 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And I learned so much in that moment, however many years ago, and that is part of why I'm pulling on this thread, trying to have strong women that I open the show with, not women, oh my God, you're the only woman on the show, but like just an amazing character that's, as you said, not all the cliche things, and is a bunch of these other things. What about, was it the vulnerability piece for Brene?
Yeah, just because for so long I tried to appear as one thing because that's what I thought I was supposed to be. And this idea of that when you expose, in a safe environment and situation where you feel there's trust and everything, but that you expose those kind of darker things about yourself.
Shadow self, and
oh my God. And because I would hide all that stuff from like my closest friends, the things that I was struggling with. I just always wanted to appear like I had it together. I think because growing up, to really get into it, my sister had brain surgery when she was 6. She had this very rare disease. And so when she was 6, she had to have all, for a year she was in the hospital, and I was 3. And so, yet I remember a lot of that time, and because she was in the hospital for so long, that's a very formative year to miss out on school, forming friendships.
Yeah.
And so it really kind of held her back a bit in life. And I, as a result, because things came easy to me, I felt guilty about that. And I really tried to that's where the kind of making myself less than comes from. But then also I saw the joy it gave my parents when I did well at things, and not faulting them. That's my own projection on things, and they never did anything. But it's
there's clearly some tension there, right?
Yeah, and so exactly. And I realized that people valued when I did well at things, and so I had this addiction to perfectionism because if I failed, then people would think I was bad and I wouldn't make people happy. And it really, this is all through a lot of therapy that I realized all this shit. But it really was kind of eye-opening, realizing that I had been hiding the things that I had been struggling with from everyone, and that I was just battling all these things in my head on my own. And once I started opening up to people I really trusted about these things, and them being like, oh my God, me too. Jesus Christ. So much healing in just that one conversation. And having such closer relationships with my friends and family as a result of that. And I mean, it really changed my life. It sounds dramatic, but it really did. It changed all of my friendships and my relationship with myself. And now I'm kind of addicted to vulnerable conversations. And I just feel like I didn't really hang out with a friend unless we really got into what's going on.
Brene, thank you for sharing that. If you haven't watched, I have 2 separate shows with her there.
I've seen them.
Okay, awesome.
Big fan.
I'm a big fan of hers, and she seemed like she was very seminal in starting that. Movement is not the right word, so I don't know if she would categorize it as such, but just there's a whole genre of sort of vulnerability, the feminine energy, and how that can help shape our culture in a positive way, and especially down at this time in our culture where things are so turbulent. There's never been a better time. So I'm going to go circle all the way back now, and as that character, and as one of the 2 female characters on the show, I think you've done a really awesome job. You've impacted that part of the sort of the feminine energy that's not all those cliche things. And I want to say nice job.
Well, thanks so much.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna say, if you are watching this right when it drops or listening to it right when it drops, the series, we don't even know what date it is.
It's either April 23rd or 24th, whatever the Sunday is.
One of the Sundays. I'll give you a short backstory before we wrap up. Oh, and I'm leaning it to see, am I in your shot again? Am I in her shot again?
Me too.
I don't remember. I started following you on Twitter. I think I followed most of the cast. And then I realized that you were following me. And I was like, oh my God, that's awesome, because this woman is awesome. And at some point, we're going to meet. And I don't remember where we started corresponding on Twitter, but I'm super grateful.
I remember where it was, because I had been watching the 30 Days of Genius, which I was obsessed with, and I watched all of them. And I had tweeted about one of them, or maybe just a general tweet about how much I fucking love the 30 Days of Genius. And then you tweeted me back, and it was as if Tom Cruise had tweeted at me. I was just...
Is this where I jump on the couch?
But I remember calling up my boyfriend, Chase Jarvis just tweeted at me, just freaking out. He's like, who's Chase Jarvis? I'm like, I've told you about him. But I remember, I totally geeked out over that. And that's what's been so cool about the show is I've been able to meet, obviously actors are exciting to me, but I've gotten to interact and meet some people in that space that, I really really admire, and I feel so fortunate that I recognize that, the show has given me that opportunity, and it's such, it's been such a gift to me.
Well, you wear it super well.
Thanks.
It's super fun to watch, and I'm a huge fan. It's super funny. Season 4 of Silicon Valley, HBO. Amanda, your handle is Amanda C.
Yeah, for Catherine, my middle name. Someone took Amanda Crew, so Amanda C. Crew.
Amanda C. Crew. It almost I DM'd with someone who wasn't following me, and I was like, wait a minute, she was following me 2 weeks ago. And to set up this show, and it bounced, because apparently Amanda Crew, whoever has Amanda Crew, is not you.
You gotta look for the blue check, yo.
Okay, got it. I know, I'm slow.
It's like you're new to tech.
Amanda C. Crew on Twitter and all of the stuff. You can follow her. She's fantastic and amazing and fun and engaging, and thank you for being you.
Thanks for
Signing
having me.
off. There's another show coming up soon. It's probably gonna have someone who's not quite as awesome.
Ooh.
But actually now the person who's gonna watch this is like, wait a minute, like I'm the next
What the
show and I
fuck?
wasn't as awesome as Amanda? Anyway, signing off. I love you people. Have a good one.